Last summer, I got invited on a date. A date on a boat with a beautiful man on a random Tuesday. And living by my favorite motto, why not, I obviously said yes. So I picked him up, maybe the first red flag there, and we were going to pick up some of mine and his friends. And when they got in the car, he answered a call. So when I said hi to them, he shushed me. This man had the actual audacity to shush me in my own car. And something in my body went completely still. Now my brain had lots of opinions about this. We're going on a boat, this could be so much fun. Maybe he was just in a rush. Maybe it's not even a big deal. Give it a chance. Old me would have smiled, probably apologized, felt ashamed of being rude, what the fuck, and not wanting to appear ungrateful or selfish. But I have made myself a promise that I am no longer available for anything that feels like a compromise. That I have standards for how I deserve to be treated, and anything else doesn't cut it for me. My standard isn't a demand. It's a reflection of my self-worth. And it's not on anyone else to meet it, but it's on me to honor it. So we get to the beach. I turned to my friend and I said to her, we're leaving. And we left. What happened next felt like the universe clapping. Within a few minutes of me literally walking away from that beach, a new invitation arrived. When that felt like a full-body hell freaking yes in the form of 5 beautiful men asking, ¿Queréis ir a un barco? Do you want to go on a boat? So me and my friend ended up on this beautiful sailing yacht with beautiful people, deep conversations, and so incredibly much laughter. I got to go wakeboarding and swing around the boat on a rope into the sunset. And the sweetest part of all of this, all through the day, I was called Reina, queen. Sure, a very Spanish way of showing affection. Even the cashier at the grocery store calls you this. But to me, it felt like the universe giving me a little nod. Kind of like life whispering, see what happens when you stop settling. It wasn't really about the word. It was about how this word made me feel in my body. Like a woman who knows exactly what she brings to the table and isn't afraid to eat alone until the energy matches. And that is what living your 12 out of 10 actually looks like. It's not about the perfect circumstances. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about knowing what I want, following the impulses, and then just saying no to what doesn't fit, and trusting that the yes is already on its way. Welcome to the 12 out of 10. I'm Nadia Oliveira, psychologist, life reinvention coach, single mom living in Mallorca, and this podcast is for the woman who is intelligent, who's capable, who's done her inner work, and is still quietly, persistently not living a life that fully feels like hers anymore. And she is ready for a life that turns her on. So we've been on a journey together. There are 4 stages every woman goes through in creating her 12 out of 10 life. In stage number 1, we talked about noticing the settling, the numbing, the 9 p.m. pattern, the running from the feelings. Stage number 2 was all about reclaiming the desire. In stage number 3, we discussed the neuroscience of brave choices and how to actually make them. And today, we are in stage number 4, living the 12 out of 10. And I want to start with something I get asked a lot. Why 12? Why not 10 out of 10? And here's what I usually say. 10 out of 10 is what most people would call extraordinary. 10 out of 10 is the dream. 10 out of 10 is more than enough. But I am not here for enough, and neither are you. The 12 out of 10 is the 2 more, the length most people do not go to. Not because they can't, but because they do not give themselves permission to even imagine it. The most exciting, most alive, most joyful, most pleasurable, most expensive vision you can hold. The one that feels almost too much to say out loud. Being turned on by your own life. And here's what makes it so beautifully complicated. The 12 out of 10 is not the same for everyone. It is not even the same for you across different seasons of your life or in different aspects of your life. Right now, for one woman, a 12 out of 10 is building a wildly successful business. For another, it's being a fully present, stay-at-home mom. For another, it is going all in for her dream body, or in making millions. For another, it is the most extraordinary love story she's ever experienced with a 26-year-old. None of those is more right than the other. All of them are 12 out of 10 for different women, for different seasons. And the 12 out of 10 you were living last year might be a 5 today. Not because you failed, but because you grew. Because you became more, and the 12 out of 10 keeps expanding with you. Which brings me to the paradox at the heart of stage 4, the one I want to come back to in a few minutes. Because once you understand it, living your 12 out of 10 becomes not just possible, but inevitable. So how do you stay completely on fire about where you're going, while at the same time being completely in love with where you already are? And most of us think it has to be one or the other. But what if it's both? What if that's actually the whole point? So here's the thing about that date, and why it is more than just a fun story about a boat. Even though I was not looking for anything serious at the time, I knew I wanted to be treated like a queen before I even got into that car. Like I said, not in a demanding way, in a knowing way. In a, this is what feels aligned with who I am becoming way. And that knowing is everything. The reason most people never reach their 12 out of 10 is not because they're not capable, not because they're not deserving, but because they do not know what it actually looks like. They might have a vague feeling that something's missing about what they don't want, but they've never let themselves get specific about what they actually want, how that would feel. But the 12 out of 10 requires you to know. Right now, in this season, what would the most exciting, most alive version of your life feel like? What would it look like? What would it feel like in your body when you wake up in the morning? Because the moment I walked away from that beach, I did not think, I hope something better comes. I was really goddamn proud of myself. And I knew something better was possible. And that knowing, that specificity, is what made me recognizable to the universe when the sailing yacht showed up 5 minutes later. And that's why I love saying, show me how good it can get. Because it focuses all the attention on finding evidence for how good it can get. And with training, you can even find it in things technically not working out. Like many people would have done, focus on what an asshole, how sad the boat thing didn't work. No, I'd rather say I'm so happy this was my invitation for holding my standards. I know rejection is always God's protection. If it's not this, I know something better is waiting for me. Like I said, most people never experience the 12 out of 10 because they have no idea of what that would even be. So many of us don't let ourselves even imagine it, because imagining means wanting it, and wanting it means risking not having it, and not having it, for many people, means disappointment. So we protect ourselves by keeping the vision vague or not dream at all. But here's the thing, a vague vision cannot be lived. It can only be hoped for, and hope without vision is just waiting. One thing I talk about with my clients a lot is this paradox, and you might have experienced the same. They do something incredible that a previous version of them would have never believed possible. Basically something that was once a 12 out of 10. They said no to their boss, they danced freely even though people were watching, went to the beach topless, communicated a boundary. And immediately their brain kicked in saying, yeah, but... There were loud thoughts on why I should not be doing it. It didn't feel great. It took me longer than I thought. I didn't say it wholeheartedly. And it's basically like there's a fear installed in giving themselves credit. A part that is so afraid of recognizing the progress because maybe that means she will not aim for greatness if I give her credit now. So I have found it's not either or. Both can exist at the same time. 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire. Because gratitude without desire becomes stagnation. If you're just grateful for what you have, but never look forward, you stop growing. You call it contentment, but underneath is fear dressed up as peace. I have arrived, I should not want more. More would be ungrateful. And on the other side, desire without gratitude becomes restlessness. You're always somewhere else, always in the next chapter, always waiting for the thing that will finally make it enough. And surprise never does, because you keep moving the goal line. But one foot in gratitude and one in desire, that's aliveness. That for me is a 12 out of 10. Not as a destination you are running towards, because now is not enough. As a way of being that honors what is already extraordinary about your life, how you're a freaking rock star, and at the same time stays on fire about what is still possible, where it is you're going. I am proud of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing this silly dance, and exciting. I would really like for this to feel normal in the future. I love me for trying, and how fun that I know I will always want more, that there are still spaces to grow. I'm proud of myself for setting that freaking boundary like a boss, and yeah, how exciting, next time I maybe don't have to wait 3 weeks to do it. Wow, I'm so proud of myself for setting and communicating this boundary, and exciting, next time I might not need to wait 3 weeks to actually go through with it. And here's the science behind why this changes everything. Everything you want for the feeling of it. You don't want to be rich for the money. You don't want to be rich for numbers on paper or ones and zeros in your bank account. You want the feeling of freedom, of choosing without having to do the math, of security you feel in your body. You do not actually want the partner. You want the feeling of being loved for exactly who you are. You want the feeling of loving someone. You want the feeling of waking up next to someone and having your body so full of oxytocin it doesn't know where to put it. You want cuteness aggression. You want queen treatment. You want to feel valued, appreciated, seen, and met. You want to feel sexy, desired, alive. You do not actually want the trip. You want the feeling of aliveness, of expansion, of being so present that time stops. Here's what most people don't realize. The feeling is available right now. It's basically the shortcut to the thing, because you don't have to wait for the thing to have the feeling. You have everything you need inside of you to create the feeling without needing the outside circumstances to change. The woman who feels free moves differently today. The woman who feels loved because she knows she is loved, because she loves herself, radiates on such a different frequency today. The woman who already feels alive without needing the trip first, without needing Six Flags, without needing the dopamine cocktail of swiping on some kind of app, attracts differently today. It's basically like turning on a magnet. Aliveness attracts more aliveness. Abundance attracts more abundance. Love attracts more love. So when you embody the feeling now, you become a match, a magnet for everything you're calling in. Not from a place of lack, like I need this to be happy, or not from I will only be happy when, but from overflow. From the perspective of I am already her. I am already the woman who knows she is so loved. I am already the woman who knows she is so wealthy. I'm already the woman who knows she is so rich in life. And from that state, the things from the outside coming to you is inevitable, but you don't need them anymore because you wanted them for the feeling in the first place. You already have the feeling, because it was never about the thing. It was always about who you became in the process. The woman who's a match for millions, the woman who enjoys motherhood, the woman who's present with her friends, the woman who can set boundaries, the woman who loves waking up in the morning to get to work because she loves her job, the woman who's a match for her dream body because she started loving her body before it actually changed. And I really think that's magic. And this knowledge truly changed everything for me. But here's the thing. Knowing the feeling is available now and actually living from it are two very different things. And that gap is where most women get stuck, because it is one thing to understand the concept, and it's another to be sitting in a car, being shushed by a man you just drove to the beach, and have your body actually manage to communicate the no before your brain has finished calculating the pros and cons of the boat. And that to me is embodiment. The 12 out of 10 woman already lived in my body. She just had to be trusted. Embodiment means thinking like her, feeling like her, acting like her in your daily choices. In the moments when it's freaking uncomfortable, in the exact moments when your brain is offering you 100 reasons to go back to the familiar. Really sitting with yourself and asking yourself, the woman I'm becoming, the woman I always was underneath all the BS beliefs that I've acquired along the way. How would she feel? How would she think? How would she act in this situation? And she's always going to give you an answer. 5 weeks ago, my ex-husband told me he was going to leave the island, which means I was going to become a full-time single mom in a foreign country with no backup plan. And to be honest, that was not on my 12 out of 10 vision board or my 2026 bingo card. But that moment brought up a beautiful choice. I could let this be something that happened to me, or I could decide that everything happens for me, that the universe doesn't make mistakes, that this is not chapter 1 of a horror movie, but rather episode 1 of a new series I did not even know I was writing. How do I know I'm supposed to write it? Reality. So I asked myself, how can I alchemize this? How can I take this apparent shit situation? How can this possibly be the greatest experience of my life? And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I had it all figured out in that moment. Some days the weight of it is real. Some days there are emotions that want to be felt. Sometimes the loneliness is very real. But here I am, the woman who turns it into something because I chose to become the woman who's an alchemist. And she lives in my body now, not just in my head, but in my body. And in that moment, that looked like, first of all, feeling all the feels. I cried about it. I shared about it. I called people to say like, hey, can you listen to me? I just gotta talk about this. Like I asked for help. And when the feelings were felt, I was open for finding creative solutions, asking myself, like the woman who is loving single mom life, what did she do differently? What did she know? What did she think? What did she feel? What did she do differently? And what can I learn from her living in the future, living the single mom life that I would love? And that opened doors I never thought possible. So now I'm taking my son to my addiction recovery meetings. He has noise canceling headphones on and is just there with me. I would have never dared to ask them without this being my reality now. So not only childcare. It meant asking my sister for support, asking her, is there a fixed date you can do once a week where the little one can come to your house? It meant getting faster in the work I do. My first coach, I worked with her 3 years ago. I told her I'm a mom, and I told her the sob story of how this is so hard, building a business and having a kid. And I loved her. At the same time, I was triggered as shit as well. But I loved her for it because she looked at me and she's like, well, this is what I tell all the moms I work with. You just have to become faster at what you do. And like I said, it triggered the shit out of me because I was like, how dare you? But thinking about it, she was completely right. Like having 4.5 hours to do the work every day that takes other people 8 hours means I just got to be more efficient. It means I do not have time to scroll on Instagram. Doesn't mean I cannot take breaks, but it means like the work I do, I'm present, I'm focused. And I'm still really grateful she called me out on that BS, even though it hurt at the time. It meant accepting help from other moms around me, asking them if they can pick up my kid from daycare so I have an hour more, so I can go work out or so I can go take a nap if I need to. It meant working out from home instead of going to the gym 4 times a week. It also led to me randomly finding out that my son can still fall asleep in the stroller. So last week at night, I ran 10K with him, went to a piano concert, took myself to dinner, all while he was sleeping in the stroller. Just because I tried new things. Connecting with that version of me in the future led to me deciding I am going to have to make more money so I can employ a full-time nanny and housekeeper. And that to me is embodiment. Connecting to that future version of me who is already living the 12 out of 10 life in every area of my life that I desire, and embodying her today. Focusing on progress, not perfection, but always in the direction of becoming her. So what does this actually look like on a Tuesday? Not on the day you make the big decision, but the ordinary days. It looks like doing the 12 out of 10 life audit, Regular, honest, eyes open inventory. Not once and never again, but doing it regularly. Because the 12 out of 10 changes as you change. And what you have normalized without noticing is always the first thing to check. The question I always come back to is, where am I settling for something that used to feel like a compromise, but now has slowly become my baseline? Where am I playing small again? Where am I dimming myself? Is this still my 12 out of 10 in this season, or am I just comfortable? Where is my desire foot trying to pull me forward? It looks like knowing the difference between what you do not want and what you actually want, because walking away from the shush is only half of it. The other half is knowing I want to be treated like a queen. I want the full body yes. I want the sailing yacht, the deep conversation, the Reina. I want dinner planning. I want pick you up at 8. Or in other areas besides relationships, I want a work that has a meaning. I want to work remotely. I want to make a lot of money. How much is a lot? 50K a month, 100K a month. Ooh, 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 ooh. Actually moving from this is not it into this is what actually is. Because that specificity is everything. It looks like saying yes to life when life comes calling. Why not is one of my favorite all-time mottos. And it's not about recklessly saying yes to everything. It's about a body-led yes. A yes that comes from your core, from your creative center. Be like, ooh, yes. A yes that comes from feeling into what excites you, what lights you up, what feels alive, and not from what you're running away from or what you feel you should do. It looks like trying new hobbies and making space for fun and play, making space for spontaneity, not always having the entire day planned out, but actually making space for silliness, room for doing things that have no freaking purpose. And it also looks like learning how to make every situation a 12 out of 10. Literally brainwashing myself and training myself to look for the good in everything. Dog has diarrhea. Wow, there's literally nothing in this world I cannot handle. At least she's not dying. Wow, I get to spend 3 hours with my kid of uninterrupted playtime at the vet. Missed the flight. I guess I wasn't supposed to be on it. Thank you for protecting me, God, even though I don't know how. Or when I'm in my luteal phase right before my period and my brain is constantly telling me I don't do enough, my Insta is not good enough, we're not growing fast enough, all this kind of stuff. A 7 out of 12 sometimes is all I got. And knowing that and still being loving and kind with myself, giving myself a break, saying, okay, all right, today we're not going to accomplish great things, but maybe it's just going to be me, my bed, and some Netflix, not giving those thoughts too much credit. That again is the 12 out of 10 for me, even when I'm technically at a 7. It looks like allowing all the feelings to be there, not just the one it looks like allowing all the feelings to be there, not just the ones I like, all of them without numbing or running from them. Allowing them to be what they are, emotion, energy, and motion, by letting them move through me, by moving my body, expressing them, sometimes screaming, punching a pillow, but letting that energy move so it doesn't stay stuck. It looks like milking the shit out of the most ordinary or sometimes extraordinary moments, like, for example, eating watermelon. And for some people, this might be insanely annoying, but I'm a person who eats the watermelon saying like, oh my God, this is the most delicious thing I ever had. How sweet this is, how crunchy it is, how blessed am I to eat a watermelon. What a consistency to feel in my mouth, to bite into it, to chew on it. It's so cold, it's so crisp, has so much water, it's so sweet, it tastes like summer. It reminds me of my grandpa, like milking the shit out of those moments. And what I really love is that my kid started doing this too. And now I hear him say like, wow, this is so beautiful. Mom, have you seen the sunset? Have you seen the color of it? How amazing that we get to experience this color. Like, because I started doing this, it is now normal for him to milk the shit out of every situation we're in. He now sees the beauty in things I haven't even recognized. It means sharing our highlights with each other every night before we go to bed. Or in the morning, talk about 3 things we're excited for the day, to really decide, where do I put my focus? Because energy flows where attention goes. It means celebrating the shit out of me, saying things like, I am so proud, writing a success diary where I put all the things down that I'm celebrating, saying to myself, the woman I have become is so cool, the woman I am becoming is so cool, bragging to myself about myself. And I also really love doing this with my clients because I think for women it is so hard to celebrate themselves, to own their wins loudly. And so every Friday, my one-on-one clients get to send me celebration messages just to get in the habit of celebrating themselves. And in the beginning, it might feel really, really weird. But obviously, practice teaches your nervous system that this is normal, that this is something you can hold. It means talking to myself like I'm the freaking love of my life. It means doing my inner work whenever I get triggered. And that happens a lot, especially when my mom is visiting. It means owning my shit when I fuck up, saying, I'm sorry for yelling at you. That was not okay. I was angry and it's not okay to let that out on you. Is there something you need from me to make up for it? Saying, I was dishonest with you earlier because I really wanted to impress you. And actually, I feel a little bit ashamed about this, but I wanted you to think I'm really cool. It means reaching out, asking for help, calling people to share about my emotions, having accountability partners, going to my recovery meetings. It means investing in experts or coaches to make my life easier and learn from the best. Honestly, why spend years figuring something out by myself when I can just take the shortcut and learn from somebody who has mastered it? And just saying all of this out loud, I think we're definitely going to have to do a podcast episode on each and every one of them because there's so much value in learning how to become the woman who lives this on a daily basis. And as a last thing, it looks like the standards, because living your 12 out of 10 also means saying no to the things that used to be a yes. After the conversations about the partner I'm calling in, invitations kept coming. Beautiful men, interesting men, men who were very clear they wanted something casual. And a year ago, that might have been my 12 out of 10. The exploration, the freedom, the aliveness of it. And it is not anymore. So when something comes knocking that is not in alignment with the woman I'm becoming, the 12 out of 10 choice is the no. Even when it's tempting. Even when the boat looks beautiful. My body usually already knows the answer. The 12 out of 10 is not built once and then maintained. It's chosen. Every single day. In the small moments and in the big ones. In the moments of joy and in the moments that feel like too much. And you don't need me to tell you what yours looks like. You already know. You have known for a while. But the work is not in the knowing. The work is in the living. We have been on quite a journey together. We talked about the 4 stages of creating your 12 out of 10 life. And like I said, not a destination, but a way of life. 1 foot in gratitude for how extraordinary this moment already is. 1 foot in desire for everything that is still calling you forward. Both at the same time. Not as opposites. As the whole damn point. The 12 out of 10 is not the life you're waiting for. It's the life you are already building. Moment by moment, choice by choice. Every time you honor what your body already knows. And that will keep changing as you keep growing, as you keep becoming. What is your 12 out of 10 today might look completely different tomorrow. But as long as you keep checking in with yourself, you always know where you're going. For today's question, the one I want you to carry with you. If I let myself get completely honest, completely specific, and completely unfiltered, what would a 12 out of 10 day in my life look like? Where would you wake up? How would you feel waking up? Who would be next to you? What would be the quality of the sheets? What have you dreamt about? How do you take your coffee or maybe your matcha or whatever you're taking? How do you move your body? Who do you spend time with? How do you work? Like, get really, really, really specific about this question. Maybe you want to journal about it. Maybe you want to talk to a friend about it. But this question has the potential to give you a really, really good direction of where you're going. And if this question is bringing something up if there's a version of your life you can feel but have not let yourself fully claim, I made something for exactly this moment. DM me audit on Instagram at Nadia Loves Life, and I'll send you the free 12 out of 10 life audit. An honest, eye-open look at every area of your life. Where you are already thriving at a 12, where you've been quietly settling for less, and where your desire foot is trying to take you next. And if you are ready to close the gap between the knowing and the living with real support, DM me 12 to schedule your 12 out of 10 alignment call. Let's have the most honest conversation you've had in a while about what your 12 out of 10 actually looks like and what might be in the way of living it. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time. I love you. I'll see you next Tuesday. Adios.